Hey guys, Aspect here again, but this time, this is gonna be a video for some of the new people to the build. A lot of requests have been a leveling guide. I have a slight stutter, so when I have to explain things for a long time, I start to stutter a lot. So if that starts to happen, then you know. But anyway, we can start with from level 1 to level 27 before you get like your Soulrend, right? You'll get Soulrend around Act 3. Before that, you'll be doing Essence Drain and Contagion. You will also be doing a Withering totem, or a spell totem with a Wither on it. Chaos Gems scale really well with levels, so when you're at low levels with these gems, they're only doing like 7 damage a second, or like 3 or whatever. It's not a lot. But with Wither, we amplify that damage and multiply it by a pretty substantial number, especially early game. So that's having Wither early game is really nice. I'm gonna try my best to do like a leveling or like a guide to get you through like the early game, or the campaign rather, especially for like newer players. I am also always willing to like answer questions for new players, so if you ever have any questions, just drop them in the comments. We can start from level 1 up until level 27, because it's around level 27 when you'll get your Soulrend from the NPCs. So up until that point, we're going to be using Essence Drain. I can actually just go over here and search it to show everybody. We're going to be using Essence Drain, and we are going to be using, there's a different skill, Contagion. So whether or not you're coming from Path of Exile 2 or not, you know what Essence Drain and Contagion is, unless you're just completely new to Path of Exile in general. But if, in case you don't, for Essence Drain, you throw a projectile, it hits something, and it does a damage over time effect. It heals you off of a portion of the debuff damage, and Contagion spreads it. Okay, so once you hit something, or you can actually do it before, so you can Contagion a pack, throw an Essence Drain, and then watch them all die, right? Because all you have to do is hit one person, and it gets spread by Contagion. So that's all you really need to worry about. Your first gems, we got plenty of options. Couple things, we can get Void Manipulation, starting at, let's find out, starting at level 8. We can get Void Manipulation. Controlled Destruction's really good. Starting at level 18. Nice. Another one starting at level 1 actually is Arcane Surge. This one is getting massively buffed, so feel free to use Arcane Surge the entire like season or build or whatever. But yeah, Arcane Surge is going to be crazy, so having that in the build is going to be really nice. Your first order should be Determination or Discipline. The reason for this is because once you start getting to Act 5, Act 6, Act 7, those white mobs are going to start like hitting you. It's going to hurt, because if you don't have any defenses, if you don't have any armor, if you don't have any evasion, if you don't even have any energy shield or block even, then every single one of those claw swipes are going to be hitting you in the face, and it's going to hurt, right? So you want to make sure that you are at least somewhat protected any kind of layer of defense, whether it be flasks, whether it be the defensive auras that we run. Actually, with this season, with the most recent change to the occultist skills with the Vile Bastion, we actually want Tempest Shield ASAP. Because we get a massive bonus to our energy shield if we do that. So instead of running discipline, if you were to choose discipline, I would recommend choosing, actually, if you were to choose discipline, I would recommend choosing Tempest Shield and discipline, because you can run both of them. Can also do determination plus discipline if you have enough mana, but I would highly recommend like discipline plus Tempest Shield this league into determination whenever you can. But as always, if you want more damage, then get more damage. You also want to start stacking energy shield like as soon as possible. Whether it be off of a chest piece that has 100 energy shield. If you're new to like Path of Exile and like or energy shield in general, the reason it's so good, imagine going into a fight and 3 dudes hitting you, right? They don't break your energy shield and you just hit them all back and nothing happens, right? You literally don't lose anything, because within like, by the time you get to the next pack of enemies, your energy shield is full HP. And that's just guaranteed. That's just the mechanic of energy shield. You don't have to invest for that to happen. Now for life, if you go up to this fight and you fight these 3 dudes and they all punch you in the face, and then like you're hurting, but you take them out, you go to the next pack, your face is still hurting, right? So you can't really do that forever. Even if you get like 400 like early on, that 400 is preventing 400 like damage every fight, assuming you let it recharge, or assuming it gets that recharge off. So yeah, that's one reason why energy shield is just so good. Yeah, so after you beat the caged brute, you can get Withering Step, which applies a lot of wither stacks really quick. Instantly applies a lot of wither debuffs instead of having to wait for that wither spell totem to like charge up. Early on, I would recommend getting this because it's just like it gives you free. It gives you, I think, elusive. Hold on, let me recheck. Yeah, it gives you elusive. It lets you run through enemies. It applies a very strong wither effect, and it's a pretty big radius, so it's just a very good ability in general. Keep in mind though, when you do use Withering Step, you cannot use things like Flame Dash as like as much as you want. If you use a Withering Step, it will take a Flame Dash charge. However, you can use Withering Step with shield charge. These two go hand in hand pretty well, because you can Withering Step into shield charge, or shield charge into a pack, and then Withering Step out. They just work hand in hand pretty well. 2 movement spells. You get a support ability being Spell Totem Wither. You get your main abilities being Essence Drain and Contagion, and that should get you through to at least getting Soulrend. So once you get Soulrend, you'll notice that it seeks enemies. So the moment you throw it, it may end up being like, hey, there's an enemy all the way over to my right, and it might just do a turn and just completely miss the person you're trying to hit. So I really recommend always at least getting 2 projectiles with it. So no matter if you use greater or lesser, it's never going to affect your damage over time, because less projectile damage doesn't really affect our damage over time damage. We'll want to take off any gems that we have on Essence Drain, so in this case, let's just take Arcane Surge off, put it onto our Soulrends. Let's actually just get rid of this ability. Cool. Now we are on to Soulrend. So Soulrend pierces everybody. It has infinite pierce, so it has infinite pack clear, theoretically. And it auto seeks targets, as well as granting you energy shield leech. Greatest weakness is its damage. So we're going to need different sources to amplify its damage. The first first thing we've already talked about, that being Wither. The next thing is going to be Despair curses. Because if we can lower their resistance, we can. It's a form of amping our damage. So, at first, you could either take the Despair curse as is and just cast it. We have a spell totem. You can use a spell totem with it, and it will auto apply your Despair. Very helpful if like you just got rid of your Wither plus spell totem. You can just grab your spell totem, put it on with Despair, get rid of your Wither, put on Withering Step, and then bam, you now have multiple ways to amp your damage against bosses specifically. Once you get until up until like the mid game and you're not playing solo self-found, if you are playing solo self-found, you can still do this. You would have to just delve on your own. It's relatively easy to get one of them rings if you watch a couple delve tutorials. Yeah, so if you can trade for a ring, I would recommend getting cursed enemies with Despair on hit. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what the other options are. It really does not matter what the other options are. So once you get that ring, you can get the Ascendancy. It could even be your first Ascendancy. It's very important. Profane Bloom, or is it? I think that's the name of it. Profane Bloom. Profane Bloom, yeah. So this is very important to get. It does so much damage. It's very, very reliable on pack clear. It's basically, we're pairing Soulrend's infinite pack clear with Profane's Bloom infinite scaling. So Profane Bloom scales off of the enemy's HP. So even if the enemy had infinite HP, it would scale with that. And even if there are infinite monsters, Soulrend would pierce everybody. So we are basically taking two very strong concepts and putting them together here. Void Beacon, very good too. You will no longer encounter life regenerating immortal enemies. Next up, we're going to be looking at items. So our wand, I know we're probably not going to get something this lucky, but if you can find any kind of multiplier on your weapon that will make your damage go in like incredibly high, it will skyrocket your damage. If you can get a +1 level to your chaos spell skill gems, that's insane. That's really, really good. Chaos gems scale really well with levels, so this +1, you might find it in Act 1, but that +1 will scale harder if you keep that wand longer. So once your Soulrend, let's say, is level 10, it's now level 11, as where the damage values from 10 to 11 are significantly different than the damage values of level 1 to 2. So getting a +1 to your weapon is like a way to scale. Alright, so for our shield, we are going to want chaos spell skill gems, +1 preferably if we can find that. We want any kind of res. Chance to avoid elemental ailments is very good, especially if you have a lot of those modifiers. And we're going to want a energy shield with spell damage implicit. Next up, we're going to be looking at the helmet. For the helmet, basically the same thing as all the other gear. Until you can get your unique item for this slot, you're just going to want to spam energy shield and resistances. Same goes for the chest piece, but it's going to also, I would recommend getting armor if you can. If you can get armor ES base, that'll be really nice because it'll make it so you don't get like hit hard by those like random blue and white mobs. Gloves, same deal. You want life on them if you don't have CI, chaos immunity, or chaos inoculation. Yeah, otherwise you just want energy shield resistances, and yeah. For boots, you just want movement speed into energy shield. It's the same thing. Same thing for all your armor pieces, honestly. Just get energy shield with resistances and then the required stats such as like movement speed on boots. The jewelry is more where you got to be picky on some of the stats, because for the jewelry you can get some insane values for your defenses. So you can get 31% increased armor and like 10% increased energy shield or 15% increased energy shield, as well as like a base plus 40 to maximum energy shield. It's pretty crazy. You can also get +1 to chaos spells or skill gems or whatever. That's very strong, so if you can find that, it's amazing. +1, +2, whatever, up until you can get your dragon flight. For your rings, you want to stack resistances and attributes, which are both suffixes, so you gotta kind of balance them out. For your prefixes, you just really want defenses and mana. Any kind of mana modifiers, your rings are really good at covering. And then for your other ring, you just want curse enemies with despair on hit. You don't really care about what the other stats are. Obviously, if you can get like cast speed or like mana or strength or dexterity or resistance, it's gonna be nice, but those are gonna run you a pretty penny, especially like the first day or two of the league. So if you can just find one that's cheap and disposable, then find it. Now maybe like after you realize like, hey, I can actually afford one now, you could hit it with an annulment orb and exalt it. Just have fun with it, because it probably won't sell if you like buy a really cheap one early on. Speaking from experience, you'll buy like a really cheap one that might cost you like 4 or 5 chaos early league, which is a lot, by the way. And then it won't ever sell. So for these rings, you might have to buy like 2 or 3 different variants, like an early, mid, and late game variant of this ring. For the belt, always get armor on your belt, because it's just a lot of armor for on a jewelry slot. So you always want armor and then as much resistance and defenses as you can get. And preferably you would get the heavy belt early game. For flasks, you want a basalt flask, you want a granite flask, and you want a quicksilver flask. For granite and basalt, they pair really nice together. You would also ideally want one of these to have immunity to freeze and chill, and the other one to have increased effective armor, or increased armor during effect. Sorry. But yeah, that's basically the rundown for at least the skills and the ascendancies and the items. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then like the video. If you want to stay around, then subscribe, and I will see you next video.